Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Artist Emancipation. I have a big old treat for you guys today because we are talking with Vince Lundi, who is one of my favorite artists. But this is our very first conversation that we've ever had outside of Instagram and email, which is hysterical to me. He is an amazing videographer. He's an amazing producer. You do just about everything under the sun when it comes to creativity. So I'm going to let you take over. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and how you got to be where you are today.
Oh, that's a loaded question. Well, thanks for having me, Shawna. Yeah, this is it's kind of funny. I've had all these social media friends I've met so many creatives on social media that I've never actually met in person. One, for example, is Ray Duker, he's like a full-time photographer, touring photographer with Beartooth and August Burns Red, etc. So after years of friendship on Instagram, I'm finally gonna meet him this Saturday. He hired me to co-direct the Beartooth show at the Schottenstein. So I kind of helped hire the whole crew, the local crew and everything. Like I said, we've been buddies for years, but we've never actually met. And finally we have a project that's going to bring us together. So, yeah, that's this weekend. I'm excited about that.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, about me, I don't know.
Just a guy.
I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy who I don't even know where to start. What do you want to get? You want to get
Give you a question and kind of start off. So when you were young, because it seems to me like every artist kind of has a moment when they're young that they're like, this is kind of what I like to do. And maybe you didn't have support growing up or because I knew my parents in particular, they were like, oh yeah, you're a good artist, but good luck making money off of that, right? But I always knew that I was good at drawing. I was good at problem solving. So that was kind of where my journey started. So did you have kind of a moment
Yeah, right away. I mean, I was always interested in art, or I guess music was the first one. I started playing saxophone in the 4th grade, and I picked it up really quick. And just from then on, for the next, all through high school, kind of tailed off towards the end of high school once I discovered guitar and Rock Band and all that stuff. But yeah, It was right away. I kind of picked up, took to music and instruments. I played on a saxophone, piano, and then it turned into guitar. And then in high school, like I said, guitar turned into rock bands, playing in bands, and I left the school band to pursue just playing
the cool band.
Yeah, at Nights of we just running out Nights of Columbus halls and ripping shows with our buddies, and that's what it was for years. And then eventually it turned into me picking up a video camera because I wanted to shoot music videos for my bands and my buddies' bands. So that's kind of how. Yeah, I knew from an early age that I was always interested in just art and creativity, and honestly just creating.
Right.
Whatever it is. So whether that's music or videos or just, getting together with your buddies.
This is interesting too, because I didn't know that you had such a musical background, but that actually really plays into the type of work that you do. Yeah.
It's everything. I was just actually talking to a friend the other day, and she was kind of I don't know if it's, basically people will ask me tips and tricks on editing every so often, or whatever the case is. And I guess, I don't know, maybe I have polished editing skills, but that's what they say. Not self-proclaimed. But anyway, I will say I do, I guess my asset in editing all kind of starts back to when I, just being a musician, right? So playing music, and then, obviously reading music and learning the downbeat and the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows of the song and the track and the music. And then writing music. And that turned into, obviously when I edit videos, there's 9 times out of 10, there's music in the background. So just using the flow of the song, the highs and lows and the downbeat, and then, editing to the syncopated, rhythm, if it is syncopated, and then I don't know, it just
that makes so much sense. Yeah,
it always kind of just flows, right? It's all about the flow. I don't use a ton of effects. I don't really get into VFX or anything crazy or transitions or anything. There's something about just it's just I don't know, something inside of me that just understands the flow, and I think a lot of that flow of an edit, and a lot of that I say can contribute back to being a musician since I was in 4th grade. So
yeah, that's amazing. So you pick up a video camera when you're doing just your own band stuff, your own your friend stuff, I'm guessing. So what was the point where you were or who maybe contacted you to do higher level stuff? When did this hobby become a profession?
Yeah, good question. So, I was pulling teeth at first to get, bands to work with me.
Hmm.
And yeah, because everyone like had like a buddy, like they knew someone, and they knew me, but like we weren't, I wasn't out there yet. So it was definitely tough at first to get people to even for free want to work with me. So because they didn't trust me, they just didn't, they didn't know, and that's fine. So I, had a handful of music videos that I had done, and then eventually this one guy noticed me. He was a band manager. I mean, I was in my early 20s at this point. He was a band manager, and he managed, five, six, seven bands across like the Midwest and down to like Tennessee, I think. And he said, "Hey, all my bands need music videos right now." He's like, "What about you quit your job? We'll go on a tour for 2 weeks. Me and you will take my car and we'll shoot a music video every other day for 2 weeks, and you'll have just that much to your portfolio, to your name, and you can knock it out of the park, hopefully." And I did,
I love
and
that.
the rest is history. I quit my job. Actually, they didn't even quit. They took me off the schedule, and I was like, honestly, this works. I don't want to go back anyway.
You're like, done deal, cool.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't want to go back anyway. And then at that time, I was also kind of like, okay, I did weddings. Weddings, kind of like I've always been like, they help pay the bills and run the ship and everything. Um, and at that point, everything had kind of just started. The back end and the hard work that I put in for years had really started to pay off. So yeah, created my LLC, and that year was it 2015, and it'll be 10 years in September.
Crazy. 10 years.
10
I think
years.
my 10th year is coming up next year too, and I'm like, am I that old?
Let's go. Are
But
we?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever. I just turned 35. I still feel like I'm 22. Still act like
And
I'm
you
22.
don't look old, right? That's the key thing. Everybody's like, oh my God, you're
That's
34.
great.
And I'm like, yeah, baby, eat it up. Eat it up. I
Yeah.
look like I'm 28. It's fine.
Hell yeah.
Anyways, so just a little bit more about your work because I really want to drive the imagery home for the people who are
Sure.
listening. Who are some of the top people that you work with in terms of music videos and producing?
Gosh, Starset, they're right behind me right there.
Yeah.
They're like one of my main bands that I work with. I'll be with Beartooth this week. I do a lot of live stuff more so. I mean, I do music videos, but I love the live stuff
Yeah, your live stuff
where,
is cool.
yeah, where I can, I don't like touring because I'm kind of a homebody, and that's just like, that's a young man's game. I'm 30, like I said, I'm 35.
Yeah.
We'll let some 19-year-old do that. That's
There you
not for
go.
me. Yeah,
There
yeah,
you go.
exactly. So for instance, I'll do Starset and Beartooth, and I've done worked with Skillet on some live stuff before.
Yeah.
We'll crew up. We'll get 5, 6, 7, 8 guys, and just do a multicam. And yeah, we're basically cutting for like, they used to do DVDs back in the day, live DVDs. Now they're just putting it on YouTube. So
Right.
that's my favorite thing. That's my favorite type of like production to do, would be like live stuff. So yeah, those three bands. Attack, I do a lot with Attack, those are my buddies. I've known those guys for a long time.
Yeah.
And then just honestly through Attack and working with Starset, and they're both Ohio, Columbus bands, so I've met a lot of awesome folks in the industry through those guys. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's super cool. I know like this question is going to come up. I know I've asked you this question before, but it's like the reoccurring thing that happens. Like when you're in contact with these bigger bands like Starset, how did that door open for you? Like, was there something that you did? Was it knowing somebody? Like, as a creative, what's your best advice to open yourself up to those bigger opportunities?
It's all word of mouth. It's knowing the right people, and sometimes getting lucky, but just it was honestly a connection we had at Fearless Records, right? So there's a guy, a buddy, another Instagram buddy who I've never met in real life. It's Black Wolf Imaging. He's a director out of New York, and dude's unreal. Fearless reached out to him to say, "Hey, we need some live stuff for Starset in Cleveland." He's like, "Oh, I'm in, where was it, Columbus, whatever it was." He's like, "I'm in New York." So he's like, "I know a guy in Cleveland." So he says, "Reach out to Vince." This was 5, 6, 7 years ago. Yeah, he let Fearless know that. Fearless reached out to me, and then there's been just honestly a great kind of relationship with Fearless for all these years. The label's awesome. The people are great there. They're just a great label to work with. And then once you work with a band like Starset, it's kind of I want to say it's easy, but that's kind of your credibility to get these other bands in,
Right.
like your Skillets and your Beartooths, and other labels start noticing, and other. But I will say, going back to what you're saying, what's your advice? My advice is honestly be cool, be a good person, don't be a dick, don't be condescending, just be a cool guy to work with, outgoing, fun. Yeah, people work with people they like. They want to
Yeah.
work with people they like and they know, and that's really what it comes down to. So make friends in the industry. Don't. It's not a competition. A lot of people make it that, but honestly, they just stifle themselves in the end doing that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And this brings up another really good
yeah.
topic. It's like you are very good at building those relationships, whether it's online or with a team. And I think a lot of artists, like you said, gatekeeping is huge in this little arena. Like we don't tell each other stuff. Like we keep our clients ourselves. Like we don't want to collaborate. And I think that's like honestly the biggest hurtful thing you can do to your career, right? Because
Worse.
hey, but like, creative in our own way, and if we can kind of put that together as a collective, like imagine the shit that we can do, right? So what have you done in your own career? Like I know you have teams, you build things from the bottom up, so tell us a little bit about kind of what it's like to put together a team and to build these relationships with other artists.
Yeah, teams. I mean, just having a network is honestly the best, and it takes years to build. I mean, there's good guys. There's lots of good guys and gals in the industry, but you got to be able to trust them with their work. They show up, on time, and they respect you and your. Honestly, they're good team players. I look for good team players, and people who are great at their craft,
Mm-hmm.
and building a team. Okay, what else? Honestly, just people.
Before like you ever did any of it, like at the bottom level when you were first like, okay, I need more than myself for this, like
Yeah.
what were some of the cues that you were like, I can't do this myself, and like how did you go about reaching out to people?
Gosh, this is a tough one. Honestly, yeah, for a while, there was a while there while I was shooting music videos all by myself, doing everything. And I was like, I'm killing myself. And I was like, I don't want to pay someone. Budgets were really low at the time. And one day I was like sitting in a hotel room by myself in like St. Louis. And I
Mm.
was like, this sucks. I'm so lonely. I'm overworked. And I had a long drive home the next day. And I told myself, like, I'm never gonna do this to myself again. I just need someone to have on set who, and for me, but also, it's going to benefit them. They're going to learn a lot, and they're going to get paid. You know, uh, that was years ago. I kind of figured out that to start building a team around me, and I don't
Yeah.
have any employees or anything, but these are just like people in my network that I've learned to trust, and yeah, just to trust and enjoy being around over the years. 10 years later, I have a good network that I can really count on, and
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered your question.
That absolutely answers it, because I
Okay.
think one of the biggest struggles, like I know I've been at this point where it's like in order to make my career bigger and like reach more people and have
Yeah.
more effect on what I want, like I need to bring somebody else in, but it's like this battle of like, do I have the funds? Do I have the capacity? Like what if I can't find the right person? So like for me to hear that you would just like you just did it, like that's kind of, yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
need to
so
do.
I'm actually that was like I mean that was easy because I'm paying someone maybe a couple $100 just to kind of pee. I just needed someone around.
Yeah.
We're probably in the same position right now, Shauna, where it's like I spend a lot of my time right here in my office just editing my life away. I'm a good editor. It's tough to give away, but I know I can't be doing this for the next 10, 20 years, just trapped in this box, editing my life away. I'll never grow where I'm at right now. So I'm actually at a unique position where I'm kind of like I've started over a little bit with some kind of just business asset or whatever you want to
If you
call
can
it.
go into it, because I know you have a
Yeah,
really cool business
yeah,
with.
yeah. I've started over. I had some help in the past, and I've kind of started over fresh with some of the back end stuff. So it's going to be nice to kind of, I guess, navigate that journey with. Basically, what I'm saying is I need to hire a full time editor. I have some people in mind. It's going to be tough to give away, but really, if you train right and really, if you just find someone you trust and who's passionate and you train them right and pay them right, it's hopefully going to work out. So that's where I'm at right now, and I know I need this to grow because at the end of the day, yeah, like I can't be doing this the next 10, 20 years.
No, we are in exactly the same
Yeah.
spot, because it's like, well, I always thought like I'll just charge more, like the bigger that I get and like the more but I'm like, I'm charging premium prices right now. I can't imagine upping that anymore. And like, and then who's to say people are going to pay it, right? So it's like, and then I'm working a lot, which I've really kind of revisited over the past year, like you said you've done. It's like, okay, like I know I still like what I do and I really do appreciate how far I've come, but like at some point it's like stuff like this connecting with you, like my heart is also here. So it's like I
Right.
have to make time for this kind of stuff and not be in Photoshop 24/7, even though
Right.
I fucking love it, right?
Right.
But we'll drive ourselves into the ground. Yeah. So I totally get it.
I actually have another cool little business. I've always been like, um, being a creative, and just like I said in the beginning, I love creating, right? So there's always, but this kind of goes back to what we were saying, where I need to like hire someone to like buy my time back, right? Like,
Yeah. Yep.
and so I've always wanted to do this, and this year it's kind of, finally starting to see it kind of come to fruition. But I've always wanted to start a clothing line, not like basically like streetwear stuff, just like t-shirts and hoodies and hats and stuff. So I've had this kind of concept and idea for a line that I've wanted to do for a long time, and hired a designer last year, and the designs turned out amazing, and we have a marketing and web guy now. Everything's kind of falling into place. So that's something that I'm really, really excited about. See, it's not just strictly video. I just, at the end of the day, I just love creating something cool. And for me, it's like I've always sold myself as a service, like my time. For this is kind of cool because I can buy back that time with like, because it's ecom, right? So I can go on vacation for a week and come back and have 100, 200, 300, whatever, how many orders. So, and that's something you build on the back end with like just the whole vision and creative of everything. And we're gonna create the content and everything for it too, because it's like I hire all these brands, they'll hire me to like create content for them, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, why can't I just create my own company, create my own content for it,
Right.
and push it out myself, and then reap all the back end benefits.
Hell
It's a
yeah.
lot of work. I'm not saying it's a just gonna be printing money with that. What do they call it? Passive income. You
Yeah.
know,
Right. Yeah.
it's not that, and that's fine. But basically, it'll be nice to have some sort of income that's outside of just selling my soul and my service,
Right,
my
right. And
time.
it's fun. It's like a passion thing. Like the thing that I find with like true artists and people who are truly creators, and this goes back to like even you playing music, it's like you're so uniquely built for the things that you're creating because like
Hmm.
you played music, you understand how music works, you translated that into video, you know how video works now. And now you're taking that into marketing and you're creating a t-shirt company, like or a clothing company. It's so uniquely you and it can't be copied, and that's kind of what I love about people who just like you said, you're just a creator. You're not a specific type of person who only wants to do one thing. It's like, and I think that's what gives us the breath of life in our work.
Yes.
It's like we need to experience multitudes of things because if we do just stay in our office, not only will we die of time loss, but our work will be boring, right? Because we're not
Yes.
getting that life experience and we're not living the way that, like a human should,
I love that.
right?
This is great. We're on the same page, and I knew we would
Yeah.
be, but
Right.
this is
I
great.
know you never know when we've literally only talked through IGDM. You could have been a complete turd, but I didn't think that would happen.
No way.
Hey, Vince, what are people are going to listen to this past January of 2025, but
Yeah.
since we're in the new year and it's a fresh new month, what are some of your big goals for 2025?
I kind of already talked on them. One would be I definitely want to hire. It doesn't have to be a W-2 employee, whatever, doesn't matter. I want to hire someone who can help take over and take some time away from editing. And then I want to launch my clothing line. That's big on the list. And I had a studio for a minute. I'm kind of taking a pause on that. The lease has been up. I kind of want to try this ecom thing. So I'm really excited to see where that's going to go with the clothing line. Weddings, I'm fully booked. I'm dialed in on that.
Damn.
Commercial, because I do weddings, I do commercial corporate type stuff, and I do music videos. Music videos, honestly, are just like, when they come in and they sound fun, I'll do them. I'm not like stressing over those. Those are just
Right.
extra, those are just icing on the cake projects, right? Corporate videos, though, I have some really cool clients. and I'm really trying to kind of develop this retainer, system where, and I have two on board actually for this new year for 6 month retainer, which is really cool. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's just like, it's nice because, you get that consistent, that consistent pay, and the something you can count on in the slow months or whatever it is. And then just having, you're kind of part of their team, right? So a lot of times this can get lonely, right? Just being here all by yourself and project to project, and you're by yourself a lot. So it's kind of cool to be like, if you're on retainer, you're essentially working for that company. So you're in talks with them, and you're sending group emails and, hey team, that's kind of cool. I've never been a part. All right, not never. The last time I was a part of something.
I totally get what you're saying. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
sometimes like my bigger clients, they include me like as part of their team, and I feel it's like such an honor. You're like, oh, thank you so much. But it helps you understand like the bigger picture of their brand. Like, clearly the visuals, the videography is a huge part of a brand to bring to life, because you have to understand the values, the voice, everything comes into play in those. So like the more that you know and the more that they can incorporate you into that, the better.
And it just feels good for me, you know?
And you're like, and I have a little work family.
I have a little work family. Yeah, the last time I had anything like that was, I know it's crazy, but I kind of miss it sometimes. But like, I worked at Best Buy for years. That was my
Yeah.
job before I started my business, and like, it was cool. I had a lot of friends that, made a lot of friends there, and it was cool going into every day, work every day. And sometimes you'd be kind of down in the dumps, and then some, some why can't I think of some coworker, brain fart.
See, you haven't had one in a while. You
Yeah,
need
I
to
know, right? Some coworker would just make you laugh, and then it just kind of turns your mood around. That's something I don't really get. I know it's a crazy concept for most people, but I'm in this room all by myself 90% of the weeks, unless I'm on a shoot, or depending on, we're not. And you especially, because you don't really have those shoot days. You're just by yourself all the time,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, my life has changed dramatically over the last year, because I did realize like just and I was more of an introvert, but like the way that my year went, I realized that I was actually an extrovert. I just went into introvert ways because of life.
Mm.
And so it's like getting back to that connectivity for me, right? And like this was a big part of it. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm in my office and I'm doing work, but like, what's a half hour out of the day to connect with somebody else over art? You know what I mean? Like, why would I
I'm
not
having a
put that as a
blast.
priority? Right?
Yeah, this
So
is
yeah, just
awesome.
just kind of learning what works for you, really. And it sounds like you like being part of a team. So like,
Yeah.
absolutely bring that
Not
into
all the
the
time. I definitely like my own time, my alone time, and that's why I get a lot of my editing done like in the evening at night, because there's no one bugging you, there's no emails, there's no calls, no
yeah,
errands to run. So I do get a lot of my editing done, past like 6
yeah,
p.m., which is kind of
yeah.
crazy.
That's why I love working on the weekends, because everybody leaves me alone. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, don't bug me.
Don't bug me, right? All right,
Right.
I have one more question for you, and then
All
we're gonna
right.
end. But with 2025, I really see like a big shift in the way that creatives use social media.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, word of mouth is huge for you, but have you noticed anything with social media that really works for creatives, or presents work in a really good way as like a portfolio or whatever? Because I do see it changing, especially like losing TikTok. I feel like visibility is about to get kind of iffy for us. So
Yeah,
like, how would
I won't
you
go
kind
into
of navigate that?
I won't go into any specific content or anything. I don't, those are kind of just hit or miss.
Yeah.
What I will say is, last year was a tough year for me personally. I was dealing with a lot of personal stuff, and I wasn't sharing a lot, and just wasn't motivated, or just whatever. Maybe there wasn't as much going on. It doesn't matter. 2024 was, I'm sorry, whatever it was last year. The beginning of last year, I didn't share a lot of, like, just on socials, like my work and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or just anything. I kind of started. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a point to do this. Make sure my work is shared. Make sure, when I'm on a shoot, I'm my stories, and then it went from, and then I started noticing people like are like starting to reach back out, and my
Mhm.
it was kind of quiet for a while, and then when I started posting, whether it was on even just stories, posts, or whatever, my inbox stayed busy. It was busy, and then like it would just be more personal stuff too that I would post, and it got even busier. I'm like, what's going on here? I think so. Basically, the point is, just post, just stay relevant. It doesn't even have to be like your best work ever or like the best whatever. I think if you just stay in people's kind of field of view, they're gonna remember, and they're gonna know that you're out there working hard and are wanted, and they're gonna want to work with you as well. So, and like I said, it doesn't have to be like the best post ever, the best reel, or whatever the heck. Just put something out there,
Right.
and you'll stay on people's radar. And I
Yeah, I
promise
think
you,
it's
your DMs will stay busier, um, with work and whatever else.
yeah, that's brilliant advice. And like I love the fact that you're saying it can be like any quality of whatever. Social media is like so I think this is the year that the influencer kind of like I should say like the perfect influencer just kind of dies because nobody
Real.
wants to see that anymore. We all want to see life. We want to see the human. We want to see like if you just post strictly your videos, like yeah, you're going to get attention. You're going to get like high quality clients because you do that
Fire
type of
flame
work.
emojis.
Right. Like if you can show the human behind that, like it gives people more to connect with. And like you said earlier, like people work with people who they like. And that's
Yeah.
huge.
I'll go a little kind of deep and personal on this, but like one of my most engaging posts or whatever, what I did this year was, I kind of just like I was like vulnerable and whatever. I don't care, whatever what people think or whatever. But I was going to counseling and stuff last year. Like I said, it was just a lot of personal growth last year, and I was diagnosed with ADHD, which is like I don't know. It was not a surprise, I guess, to me or like even close friends. They're like, "Yeah, dude, I could have told you that 10 years ago."
Yeah, yeah,
But anyway, I had put it out there just on socials, and it's like, "Hey, I've been dealing with this for a long time. It's been tough, but it's like exciting to like kind of take a deep dive into my brain and see why it is why I act and I am the way I am."
right.
So it was really cool. I put that out there and just shared it, and people. I mean, I had hundreds of responses saying, A, just thanks for being vulnerable and real.
Right.
I appreciate it. And B, just like, hey, I'm dealing with this too. Thanks for putting it out there. And this worked for me. I hope maybe this can work for whatever. It was just, it was really cool to connect out there with people outside of just like, the highlight reel stuff.
Right.
And it was everyone from like family and friends who reached out to people I've never met. So it was really neat to kind of just put that out there and be real and vulnerable, and that was probably the most engaging post I'd ever put out, which
Yeah.
kind of sounds crazy.
It doesn't. And it doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me at all because I think one of the things that people shy away from the most is being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like it's a scary thing. It's a scary thing to put out into the world. Like, hey, this is something that I found out about myself. Like, I'm not quite sure how to navigate it. So, like, how would I expect somebody else to navigate it, right? But it's like I'm gonna say it anyways. So that's a lot of bravery and a lot of vulnerability. And when people see that, it's like I want that, right? So, like, of course, they're going to be more inviting to you because you're doing it. You're the one being the example, right? So
It's your
it's pretty
story, and
cool.
that's what like any client I have, whether it's a wedding, music video, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's what I try to, kind of sell them or teach them, is that your story is so important, and that's why people want to work with you, because every story is unique, and really just putting that out there, it can help people kind of relate emotionally, and that's what sells. And not that I was trying to sell anything by putting that out there. I just wanted to kind of connect, and it was really cool to see everyone reach out, and I've learned a lot over the past year, and hey, I'm still learning. We're always still learning. So
True. Brilliant. I think I'm
yeah.
going to end it on that note because that was perfect. But Vince, thank you so much for coming on. That was such a brilliant conversation. Let people know where they can find you on social and your website or anything else that's coming up soon.
Honestly, just the place I stay most relevant is Instagram. It's just Vince Lundi, VinceLundi. And you can pretty much find everything from there. But yeah, Instagram's that's my domain.
And butter.
Yeah, that's my house. That's my home. It's like those are where all my friends hang out because I don't have any. It's just me here. I don't have it.
Yeah, you're like, all my friends are on Instagram. It's
All my
fine. I
friends are
kind
on
of feel the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Find me there, and I'm always putting out like if people want to I need crew and stuff all the time for
Yes.
for whatever if it's for really any project. If I need crew, I'm going to put it out there and give people an opportunity to kind of like, if they want to come and either shadow or work or whatever it is, or shoot with me, whatever it is. I'm open to having meeting new creatives and networking and getting to know new people and in the industry. And yeah, just hit me up. I'll put it out there.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you
Hell
so
yeah.
much. I'm so excited about this. I will be back next week on the Artist Emancipation with another guest, but go check out Vince on Instagram, connect with him. He is so happy to connect with you, so go do it. But thank you again, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Peace.